try and close a life sale. He had no insurance. And the guy said, you know what? We've been thinking about it and praying about it. And we just feel like God will take care of us. And I said, well, that's why I'm here. Who do you think sent me? But he didn't buy. So
But there is some truth to that. There really is, whether you're a believer or not. There is some truth to that, you know? So,
100%.
no doubt.
Yeah, we all have a mission. Doug, you want to rephrase what you said to us before we click this all live here about having
Well,
a mission?
you do not reach a mission. You might reach your goals. You might become very, very successful here, but the mission goes on, and it goes on beyond time. This mission is really in its early stages as far as the financial world is concerned. Living out the mission, a part of our role at living out the mission is removing the obstacles. And true leadership is unattributable. Everybody puts a piece in, and then they don't know what those obstacles were when they, in the current world that we're in right now, like Brad's been talking about, have no idea the kind of prices that were paid to get where we are right now. And so these are the ultimate best times that I've ever seen in my 40 years here. And, you know, when achieving your goals is actually, it's satisfactory, but to see the mission goes on and in the hearts of other people is by far more satisfactory than anything I've ever seen. And to see the young people coming on with the same zeal is just stunning. And so that's such an encouragement. The daily approach, of course, is going to change what you do because the mission is everything. And that's what moved us in the beginning. It still moves us. Anyway, I'm talking too much.
no, that was good. And unfortunately, we had an unbelievable conversation about this before we opened the door to let everybody else in. But it was amazing. One of the things, that I see, I think it's easier today than it's ever been. We talked a little bit about what we used to go through picking up P samples and, having to ship it on Delta Dash and all the things we had to do dealing with enemy agents and stuff like that in the early days. And yet, I don't know if the percentage of people willing to do it has changed, because
Right.
at the end of the day, the battle is always inside. It's never an external force that is going to determine whether you succeed here or not. It's always going to be inside, and that battle has to be fought. And I spoke to somebody the other day, and they were telling me how bad they feel. They feel like crap being in this company, and they're making $200,000 a year, but they feel like crap because they don't get recognized. They're not winning trips. They go to the convention and they're just clapping for other people, and they feel like a loser. And I said, are you kidding me? Do you know how few people can build a six-figure passive income stream in the world? This is so rare. I mean, think about what you've accomplished and what you've done. And I think that sometimes we lose sight of that because we're so competitive. But I want to tell you, if you're making a six-figure income in this company, my hat is off to you. You deserve everything you've gotten because I know the darkness that you've had to deal with. I know the depression. I know the challenges you've had to face, the boogeyman in your head that you had to somehow conquer to get up every day and go do the things that most people are unwilling to do. You're a freaking champion.
And I'll add to that, Brad, that, the things that you had to go through here are no different from the things that every entrepreneur goes through to have a successful business. I got a call a couple days ago. A friend of mine, he's our dry cleaner. They pick up the dry cleaning at the house. He's got IRA accounts with me, lost a big account, going through some stuff. And he kind of said to me, he goes, I don't even sleep at night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, welcome to being an entrepreneur that's going to be successful. So people think like it's a Primerica thing. It's not a Primerica thing. It's an entrepreneurial thing. And it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary part of your journey to become successful. Everybody tells stories about it.
You got to be tough, man. There's no way around it.
we built the building business. It was just holy terror every single day. We were on like any business you build is just like that's the same. You have to deal with that fear, that terror that you deal with every day. Here, it's much different because you have such a wonderful team of people that are interested in the same thing. It's amazing, but there's very, very few builders. Home builders. We are home builders. To become a successful home builder, there's thousands of people that try that, and only a few ever make it. Same thing.
Did you ever have supply issues and all the rest of this, right? Like, I take a look at these builders and then you're trying to coordinate different trades. And, people look at Primerica. They want to blame Primerica for a lot of different things when I just spent the last couple of days at home office. I got to say, like, the stuff that's being set up for supplying you and equipping you and helping you to build your financial destiny here is unbelievable. It's only getting better. But that doesn't fix what's going on between the ears. You still got to be the general contractor that says, hey, I got to actually look at the blueprint. I got to map this out. I've got to actually learn how to actually put on my tool belt and actually go swing a hammer. I got to go, which equates to going doing appointments. And I better be really good at it. And I got to make sure that I'm going to build the best damn house that I've ever built, right? And so people quit doing all the fundamentals. And like Brad said, they got to fix what's between here.
Yeah. The other thing that we have in our favor is this. Yeah. This, whatever we are, is something to be very profoundly excited about. You don't get that very many places. This is something to really worthwhile to take to the world with your life. And so that's what keeps us going. Brad would have quit 1,000 times. I would have quit 1,000 times and went into a business where I knew exactly how long it was going to take me to starve to death. But here you have the exciting prospect of changing the world in a way that's very healthy for people. And so that kept me going in the dark times.
And you got MPI, you've got you got POL, you've got, imagine being a realtor and calling up the top realtor in town saying, hey, can I come in and follow you around? Will you teach me what you know? That's never happening. Imagine opening a restaurant and then calling up a successful restaurateur in town and saying, can I come over and watch what you do? That doesn't happen in the real world. On top of that, we're at the right place at the right time in history. You're in the right industry. There's no industry better than this. It's the wealthiest industry in the world. There's more millionaires in this industry than any other industry. More people making $100,000 a year, a month, and a week in financial services on the planet than any other industry. If you're not making 100,000, it has nothing to do with the company or the industry or the country that you live in. It's strictly something you got to work out in your mind. And that's why we're so fortunate. We've got one of the greatest the goat of Primerica, we believe. And, we don't want to make this a crying session where we're shedding tears about how important this person's been in our life. But at the end of the day, if you were here, keep Scott on and Doug, if you were here in the early days and you lived through the turmoil of the early 90s, you know how important this one person was to our life. A lot of us probably would not be here. We would have thrown the towel in had it not been for the audio tapes, the cassette tapes, the ability to go out and visit and to listen to this one person who held this company together when it was in its darkest days. And we're fortunate enough to have him on. Scott, I don't know if you want to help out with that intro at all.
Let me tell you, Hector LaMarque, Hector and Jan LaMarque changed my life in a way that I didn't know was going to happen. And we were fortunate enough years ago that Keith Otto and I were able to fly out and get it and meet Hector and Jan and stay at their place and then stay for their convention that they did out there. And then after that, we flew out for successive years. We flew our teams out. Hector, I love you, buddy. You changed lives that you are unaware you have an impact on. I just want you to know the impact that you've had on the Fletcher family, may be greater than any single person in the company. So I thank you for that.
100%. Listen, Hector, when Art left, we all remember, any of us were here during that time, this company went rudderless. I mean, there was no leadership running this company, and all eyes went on you. And so we're very grateful for what you did. And it's interesting because, I was in the green room in the back of the convention when you were getting ready to speak, and I was wondering what's going on in your mind. It's been, what was it, Hector, 20 years since you got up on stage at a convention and spoke, and you have a whole new generation of people. You must have been wondering, will they even know who I am? And I said, are you kidding? The standing ovation is going to consume your time, buddy. And that's what happened. So we really appreciate you coming on and sharing a message with this group here today.
We need you to unmute, though.
You are muted, my friend.
You're muted, Hector.
Famous last words of Zoom.
Okay, how's that? Good.
Perfect.
Good.
Well, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I appreciate that. And it's one of the most gratifying things for me is being able to help a lot of people, and not just in my hierarchy. I've helped a lot of people outside my hierarchy, and that's been something that's important to me. And one of the reasons I wanted to join this call today is to share some of the things that I've done, and especially how I think. I think the biggest issue for most people is they just think poorly, and they need to think better than they're thinking for the most part. So if you're getting great results, and your thinking obviously is good, and if you're not, then it's probably not that good. And I think that's, for me, over the years, I've been at this. This is my 40th year in Primerica, and I'm a personal development junkie, and I've been that way for. I think I've read over 1,500 books on everything from people skills to time management to sales to et cetera, all kinds of stuff over the years, and I'm continuing to do that every day. I spend time on that every day because the way that we think determines everything. You see people doing really well, I guarantee you they have very, very good thinking. If you see people struggling, then they don't. I mean, it's pretty much that. And you see that in your people as you're building your business, how people come and they're have the potential to be great, but their thinking just keeps holding them back from soaring. So I've always worked really hard on my thinking, and I think that that's the thing that's really made the difference in my life. That I have good thought process. So as a result, it determines my actions, and then my actions, determine the results. So that's one thing I would highly recommend anybody's listening is really, really, really work hard at becoming great at what you do, because money follows greatness. And in any endeavor, whether it's sports or actors or business people or, but it's the focus needs to be on becoming great at what you do. And that's what I would be like on top of every minute of every day. And then once you do that, then you work on how can I transfer the knowledge and the expertise that I have to the motivated people in my business. And that's one of the things that caused my business to really take off in the early days, is that I worked really hard on myself, but then I worked really hard on transferring what I knew to the people that were motivated. And I never worked with unmotivated people. So I think one of the things that really, it took me about 3 years to figure out, most people aren't motivated. I mean, everybody says they want to make more money, they want to be successful, but in the end, their actions, tell a different story. So the most important thing I did is I started focusing after about my 3rd year in the business, only working with motivated people. Now, I was nice to everybody. I'd have people come in the business and you could see that they weren't that motivated. I was friendly and I was kind to them and all that, but I didn't spend energy on those people. I didn't spend time with those people. But the people that were really motivated, and you could tell by their actions, by their behavior, they show up to the meetings, they're bringing people to the meetings, they're prospecting, they're reading the books that you're recommending or listening to the audios or videotapes that you're recommending, and they're doing all the right things. And those people, I paid an enormous amount of attention to. I really, really worked hard with them, because a lot of times you'll see people that have people in their business, and they're doing pretty good job. So the leader thinks, well, they're closing sales, they're recruiting people, I don't really need to spend a lot of time with them. But the reality is the opposite of that. When you find those people, you need to spend more time with those people. Those are the people who have the potential to, number one, become RVPs, or even better than RVPs, go to SNSDs. So I always worked very hard, spending a lot of energy with the people that I could see were really motivated, because that was easy. And I stopped trying to motivate people. I'm not a believer in motivation. You heard me speak, that's not my deal. I never talk about that. I don't tell stories about, to try to motivate people. I talk about what exactly I did to build my business, and the right people connect with that, and then they act on it, and they become, more successful. So that's one thing I'd highly recommend, is really start paying more attention, close attention. Who's in your business and who's in your base shop or in your hierarchy that appears to be really motivated. Those are the people you should be building really strong relationships with. Like I did with Rick Susie or Chris Howard, a lot of the people that ended up becoming very successful. I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy with those people. And I think that's one thing that if I were you, that's what I would be doing. I would be paying attention to that, and then grow that number of people that are, kind of like that. So I guess, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. A million, I've been in Primerica for 40 years, and I've been paid a little over $100 million in that time period. And it's, and it hasn't let up. And, my wife, Jan, passed away in January 4th. And we were together almost 50 years. Like we started dating when I was 17, and I'm 67 now. And she just passed away just several months ago. And we were together a long time. And I was able to take care of her. I mean, for the last 18 years or so, when she was, struggling with cancer off and on. I mean, she would get rid of it and then it'd come back. I was able to kind of step away from the business. Like you mentioned, I hadn't been going to any Primerica events. And the reason is I was, well, one, I was already completely debt free, and I was financially independent even 20 years ago. So I didn't have to work, although I still work some, but I really stepped away. And relative to how I used to work, I really, I devoted my life to taking care of Jan that 18, 20 years. And we had we traveled to 70 countries. We had an amazing time. We spent all our time together, and I'm so glad I did that. I don't have any regrets, which is really great. There's no regrets. We did all we could. I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to stop that from happening, but I was able to take care of her for a long time and show her a great life. And all of us have people we love that at some point are going to need something, and hopefully you're committed to growing and becoming super successful, so you can be the person that steps up and helps those people that you love and that you care about. And I'm a personal development. I've been said I'm a personal development junkie. I've probably read over 1,500 books on personal development, all kinds of personal development. And I've probably spent 150 to 200,000 on just all the things, tapes, videos, seminars, all the things. I really worked hard on growing me, because I knew that if I grew me and then I passed that information along to the people who are motivated, that I would become very successful, which is exactly what happened. And what also with focusing on personal development, it allowed me to get very good at developing people and helping people become more successful. That was one of the things that, because you can't teach what you don't know. And so you need to do the work to become really successful and know what you're talking about, so that you can help other people, maximize their potential. So, So developing your skills and your knowledge, I mean, it's the surest way to have people follow you and for you to become wealthy. I mean, that's one thing I figured out. And it's important because people, people that are coming into your business, they're counting on you. I mean, they really are. That's the way I look at it. They're counting on me to be the leader and to share the kind of information and expertise that can help them become successful. So that was one of the reasons I worked so hard, is I knew that I needed to develop me so I could develop them. And that's one thing I don't see people spending enough energy on themselves first to be able to transfer that information, that knowledge, expertise, and skill sets to the people that are motivated to come into their business, into their life. So even though the last 18 years I was part-time in Primerica, I made close to $60 million during that time. And you never saw me at a meeting. I didn't go to any company stuff. I didn't go to anything having to do with the company for 12, 13, 14 years, a long time. But still, because I built a business of a lot of people that really knew what they're doing, they were pros. I have a saying that pros get paid and amateurs get exercise. And I think the thing to focus on is how can you become a pro and how can you help your people become pros in the business. And that's all of you guys that are on this call right now, for the most part, are all very, very successful. So I would consider you're all professionals. But are all your people and your business professionals? Probably not, but that would be something that I would pay a lot of attention to, is getting people's skills and skill sets and their knowledge. Because I would always ask people, I'd say, what would your business look like if everybody on your team were as good as you at the kitchen table? Be unbelievable, right? I mean, so then I would always ask the next question, so why aren't you spending every moment you can on helping those people develop and transferring what you know to those people? That's the thing that I did. And my goal was to help people, get free. Freedom to me is everything. I think being free is like being debt free, being financially independent is just freaking awesome. I mean, it's really great. So, so we did that. I made a lot of money. We traveled around the world. I think we went to 70 countries in the last, 20 odd years, and had some really amazing times. So I am really glad that I got financially independent. That was really I wasn't really, I've never have been really into things, like buying. I'll have some nice things. I have 3 homes, and, I have a pretty great life. I have nice cars, all that sort of stuff to travel. But, I think being free was always the number one thing for me. And I think you have a vehicle, in your possession right here with Primerica that can allow you to, if you get really great at it and you get really great at developing people, that it can allow you to have an enormous amount of freedom in your life. And I think that's the one thing that's so awesome about Primerica, is that, I was able to step away for a long time and still do really, really well. And that's not normal. That's not a normal situation. So you're in a business that can allow you an enormous amount of freedom. So, I have homes in Las Vegas and Newport Beach and Cabo San Lucas. So I kind of have this little triangle that I follow the weather. Wherever the weather's the best, that's where you'll find me. I'm in Newport right now. It's very nice here, but that's always been a big deal for me, is having the freedom and then, living well. I mean, I don't know, all of you who are on the call here that are watching this, you live well. But the question is, do all your people live well, or all of the people that are motivated your business, do they live well? I don't know. That's one of the things that I really wanted to have happen, is that I wanted them to live well as well. So that's why I share. And I share everything I do with everybody in Primerica. I've never like, oh, I don't want to tell them because then they'll all know all my secrets. I've never done that. I never worried about sharing what I know, because what I know is that most people won't do it anyways. Even if they know, they won't do it. So they don't do the work because just don't have the discipline to do it. But so I never worried about what the people that I shared all my, how I did everything with people. So anyways, my big thing was, I wanted to live my life as if I was always on vacation. So everything I did to build my business and grow, get debt free and all that was I was done so that I could live. You know how it is when you're on vacation, you have a great time wherever you go. Like me, when I go on vacation, I like to play golf. I like to eat well. I'm a big foodie and all that. I like great food, great golf, great weather. So I wanted to live that way, and I live in places that are like that. So that was the whole goal. So I still work, but I have a lot of freedom, and I think a lot of you do too. But that would be the big thing, is to get people's skill sets up so that they can model and mimic what you do and have the kind of business and potential income and lifestyle that you have. I always was working hard to share how I did what I did so that they could do that. So and again, I just want to reiterate this. I didn't work with unmotivated people. So I highly recommend you make a decision to stop working with unmotivated people, and because it's not fair to the people that you have that are motivated, that you expend energy in an area that's just not fruitful. So excuse me, I highly recommend you do that. When your people's skills and their self-confidence is high, they're just going to do more. That's the thing. You look at people, they're not doing much. I guarantee you, because their skill level is not high. And so if their skill level is not high, then their confidence is not high. And the skill level is what determines how confident people are. The better skilled you are at something, the more confident you become. So that's the thing that I think you need to transfer to people's, is all the skill set that you have that have allowed you to become successful, and is going to allow them to be successful. And those are the things that I focus on teaching to the people in my business. And I always thought, imagine having a team of super confident people that will, that all automatically leads to growth, consistent growth. The better trained your people are, the easier it is to retain them. If you want to retain people, like I have 16,000 licensed agents now, and we retain a lot of people because a lot of them are very, we focus on their competence level and helping them become confident. So the better trained people are, the easier it is to retain people and then continue to grow your business. So that's something that I paid a lot of attention to, that I highly recommend you do as well. So my focus was to train and develop people so that at some point they didn't need me. I wanted to train people so well that they would say, "Hey, Hector, get out of the way. You're slowing me down. I don't need you." Right? I wanted everybody to feel that way about me, and that's what I focused on. I never wanted people to need me. I wanted to help them become so good and so confident that they did not need me. And I think a lot of leaders need to be needed, and I think that's a mistake. I think the thing you want, and it's kind of like children. You have kids. I have 2 kids, and I didn't want them to need me. I wanted to teach them the kind of thinking and kind of behavior that would allow them to become really successful. My daughter's a very successful director and screenwriter. He's having a great career. He's doing really, really well. And then my son is she went to Stanford, and she went to the AFI, which is American Film Institute, to become a screenwriter, and she's done amazingly well. And then my son, Dak, went to Wharton Business School, and he wanted to he has a hedge fund now, and he's doing really well with that. And he's making me money now, which is really good. I've been spending tons of money on him for years and years, and and now he's making me money, which is really great. He's amazing. He's a super smart guy, and he's doing well, which is great. I think the greatest gift with kids is to help them become successful and them be independent of you and not need you anymore. I think that's the kind of ideal thing to focus with your kids if you have kids. So so focus on training, develop your people so that they're super self-confident. Be relentless about having every motivated person be trained to be pros, and that will lead to a big base shop and a big hierarchy. That's how I did it. Anyways, that's what I focused on. Just focus on being relentless about every motivated person becoming a pro, just like you. Yeah. And you keep asking yourself, what if I had, 10, 20, 50, 100 people that were just like me, competency level and level of training. And I think you're going to have an incredible business. I don't, I don't, there are some questions people have. Maybe let's
Oh
do
yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, oh yeah.
okay, let's do
Oh yeah.
that. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You
We
want me
got
to take it
it.
first, bud? What do you want to do?
So let me Hector, you first of all, for everybody that is wondering, well, why is Hector on the mutual fund? This is where we do securities training. Just to let you know, Hector's got over $7 billion of AUM in his hierarchy, $128 billion of insurance in force, but 7 billion of AUM. He's one of the biggest in
Hmm.
the company. Hector, you talked to and you know you've got guys in your business that they focus on securities, and
Hmm.
a lot of times when people move to securities, it's because in a lot of cases, I find in my business, they've abandoned the belief that they can build a base shop and build a
Yeah,
hierarchy. And so they
definitely.
kind of move that direction. And I think one of the reasons, and you touched on it, is it's so frustrating for some people to deal with the numbers you have to deal with, the unmotivated people, and
Hmm.
they just feel so much pain trying to find somebody that's the right person.
Right.
And so they just give up on the recruiting part. And when you do that, what do? You're going to gravitate towards, I'm just going to make money in
Securities.
a book. Yeah. So
Yeah.
touch on that for the securities people on here to get back into recruiting. Why not?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand people that don't do both. It doesn't make I'm making, I don't know, about 1 million, 1 or 2 in securities and 2 million plus on the life side. So why would you not do both? I mean, the money's huge when you do both. So maybe the thing that happens is their ability to train and teach people is not isn't up to snuff. So in other words, the only way you can retain people is you've got to train them really well. I'm really big on becoming a professional salesperson. I'm a professional salesperson. I was a professional salesperson before I got involved in primary. I think I've mentioned this to everybody. I listened to Tom Hopkins' his 12 audios, How to Master the Art of Selling Anything. I literally listened to that program, 12 tapes, uh, about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 straight years in my car. I never listened to the radio. I only listened to that. I got to the point because I'm basically a very shy person. I've always been really shy, and I needed confidence. So by me getting that material down so well, I became very confident. So even though I was still kind of a shy person, I just knew what I was talking about. I knew how to how to close, how to get people to say yes. And so that's one of the things that I'd highly recommend you do is you know, what would your business look like if you had like, hundreds and hundreds of professionally trained salespeople that knew how to close, that knew how to get results and knew how to train their people. That's what, that's why I have 16,000 agents in my business now. That's why we make the kind of income we make. And I have a lot of people making a lot of money in my organization, but all of it comes back um, to them becoming professional salespeople. All the guys that I have or gals that I have that are really successful, they're all pros at the kitchen table and the pros at teaching people. And not everybody, obviously, because not everybody does what you ask them to do or follows your training to the extent that they can or should. But you're going to have your ability to get people highly trained is what's going to allow you and your to build something great and allow your people to become successful. Because the main thing I wanted to make sure is when I found somebody that was a motivated individual, I didn't want to lose them. And so I knew the only way that I wouldn't lose them is if I trained them really well and that they could easily and make things happen, recruit people, close transactions, train their people. That's everything. And so why don't people do why do they gravitate towards securities and they kind of stop building? Because building's hard. It's work. It's work to develop people. But once they're developed, it's like, you don't have to redevelop them. You have to just develop them one time. They'll get their skill sets up so that they can, be confident to build their own organization. So I just focused on that. I think that um, I'll say this over and over again. Learning how to close is the whole deal. And I don't understand why people don't talk about this in primary. I don't know anybody who talks about learning how to become a professional salesperson. I think I'm the only person that ever talks about that. And to me, it's so obvious that you should do that, and that people don't get that is like, how do they not get that? I mean, how do you know everything about our business is sales? There's no part of our business that doesn't include sales, whether it's prospecting or setting appointments or doing a presentation and closing them on our products and services, or closing them on the business, or closing them on coming to meetings, or closing them on go to retreats, closing them on go to the convention. Everything that we do is sales. And for you not to focus on becoming a pro at that's the height of ignorance in my opinion. I think people do not get that. That's really, really important, because what you want is you want everybody feeling. I wanted all my people to feel like they were better than me, that they were so good that they were better. I didn't care. I mean, I didn't have an ego where I said, oh, I want you to treat me like like the guy, the main guy. That's not what I wanted. I wanted you to be able to go, I don't need you, get out of my way, you're slowing me down. That was always my focus. When I think developing people is everything. Yeah. And so, you look at your business, the people that you've really developed, they do well, they stay. The people that don't, they leave. The only reason people leave Primerica is that they don't make money. That's well, not the only, but it's the primary reason. So why wouldn't you be teaching people how to close, how to make money, so that they want to stay, so that they feel confident, so they feel like they can develop other people. So that's always what I focused on.
Yeah. I think everybody's looking for a franchise player like Rick Susie.
Yeah.
The challenge is you're not good enough to get Rick Susie. I mean, before you got Rick, you went out and made money.
Yeah, I did.
And so you were successful, and that's how you finally, when Rick was ready, you attracted him into the business. And a lot of people just don't pay that price.
Yeah, so I mean, Rick's been, obviously he's the star player on my team, but but it took me a year and a half to recruit him. We kept following up, and but not only that, I was building a business and making money. By the time I recruited him, I was making 15, 20 grand a month. It wasn't like I needed him. And then he was Rick's a professional salesperson too. I mean, we both are. And so it just took me a while to get him to really see it. So what happened to Rick, how I recruited Rick, is we were both in the jewelry business. We were managing jewelry stores. When I was manager of, I opened 3 stores for this company. Then he became the supervisor after I left. He was a supervisor, sales supervisor for the company. And he was making pretty good money back then, like 70 grand a year, this was a long time ago. It was pretty good income. And I started making more money than he did, and I showed him, and I said, look, you got to get involved. You're way better. Like, I know all these people in Primerica that are making really great money. And Rick, you're better than most of these people. How could you can't stay at this place. You gotta join me. Let's build something together. And that's kind of how I got him involved. Because he's really great. And then his first year in the business, he made like 250 grand, which is crazy amount of money. He did really, really great because he was a pro. Rick is one of those guys that just simply doesn't care what anyone thinks, and that's a really tremendous attribute, and I'm actually like that too. I don't really concerned with people think about me. I want people to like me and all that stuff, but I don't need you to like me. I mean, I have my own life. I'm not worried about that. He's really good at that. Not worrying. He's straight up with people. Those of you who have spent any time with him know him. He's a special guy.
One of the best coaches. Scott and Jeannie, I know questions that people are wanting to ask.
So I'll ask one, Hector, since you were on the whole thing with Rick, talk for a minute about when you got in and how the person recruited you, and then you wanted to get the birthday party time, and talk a little bit about what swung you into the business.
Well, what happened, I had just opened a new store. Actually, the third store I opened for this company. It's called William Pitt Jewelers back then. And I was just opening a store. I was working, like crazy 70 hours a week. And my son was, who's now, he's going to be 46 in October. He was 5 years old. And we were having a birthday party. And I asked my boss then, a guy named Steve Robbins, I said, Steve, we're having a birthday party. Dak's turning 5, and I need to get off early on this Saturday. I can't work late. I got to get off early, and just want to make sure that's okay with you. He says, no. He told me, no, you can't get off early. You have to work, because if you're not there, it costs me money, is what he said. Oh my God, I was so pissed off. I just said, are you kidding me? And I was working my tail off for this idiot. And then, so that was it. I was kind of, for me, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I just went, I'm done. I'm never working for somebody again. I don't give a shit what I have to do. I'm not going to do it. And then that's when this guy, John Grote, the guy who recruited me, came to me and showed me the business and stuff like that. But I didn't get started right away. He actually done that before this even happened. But when that happened with my boss, I decided I'm done. I didn't quit right that day, but it took me maybe about 10 months later, I went full time and I quit. But that was the thing that got me going. And thank God that happened. That was one of the best things that ever happened to me is getting rejected like that by my boss. And anyways, from there, I just got focused like a laser beam. I said, I'm going to show him, and I used that as fuel to get me to do what I needed to do, and the rest is history.
And you've always talked about in the past, you used visualizations, things
Yes.
you pictured to motivate. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, one of the things that I did, and I do that. I think visualization is really important. You should be really visualizing everything about that you want to accomplish, and it's really interesting how that works. And that by doing that, and you focus on it long enough, things come to fruition. They start happening. One thing that got me, like what I used to do, is when I was first early in the business, I was trying to build my business. I used to imagine that my kid, it's raining and my kids and my family's out on the porch and they're getting rained on because they got evicted from their house, and we're going broke. And I actually used to do that to motivate myself to get going, to make the calls and to do the things that I needed to do that were uncomfortable for me. Like virtually everything about Primerica, prospecting, making calls, all that was super uncomfortable with me. I was very shy and I was introverted. And so everything I've had to do to build a big Primerica business did not come easy for me. It was difficult, challenging mentally anyways. So I would have that visualization. And then as soon as I start thinking about that, then man, I got on the phone and started making calls and started prospecting. I did what I needed to do. I couldn't allow that to happen, in other words. So I think you should have something that really gets you going. I mean, the most important thing you need to learn how to do is motivate yourself. You can't wait for other people to motivate you. You got to figure out ways to get your butt out the hut. That's what I used to call it, right? Get going. And so I think most people don't have things that really inspire them to get going and do the uncomfortable thing. Because most of everything about Primerica and most people that come involved in Primerica are not salespeople, so they've never sold before. So for most everybody, it's super uncomfortable to make calls, call your friends, try to get appointments with them, sell them something, all this stuff. Avoid people to meetings. That's not comfortable for, I'd say, 80 or 90% of the people that we bring on board. But you have to get something that moves you. So that visualization of my family suffering and being broke and all that, I just it made me do all the things that I felt uncomfortable doing. It forced me to do that. And I think all of us have issues, right, that we sometimes to get ourselves moving. And you need to figure out what you want and what where do you want your life to go. I mean, everything that I have now, I had visualized all of it like clear as day. I was super clear about what I wanted to do with my business and how I wanted the trajectory of my business to go in my life and everything. I was very clear about it. I think you need to get crystal clear about what do you want. I mean, come on, you know what you want, but you need to get really clear about that, and then you need to act on it. And you all have a business at your disposal right now that can pay you. I know it could pay you $100 million because it paid me that much money. So I know it's there for you, but you got to get yourself to do. You got to get yourself to do the things you probably normally don't really want to do. That's really the. I think all the greats and everything in sports, whatever the way that like a Michael Jordan, for example, how he worked so hard on himself and developing himself, or Tom Brady, or that. The list goes on and on, but all kinds of. It's not just in sports, but it's also in business. How people, they get themselves to do what they know they need to do, even though they don't want to do it. Because success doesn't give a crap how you feel about what you have to do. You just got to do it. And so you guys are in a position that you could, in 12, 24, 36, 60 months, you can radically change your life. I mean, just radically change your life. And you're in a perfect spot right now. Our company's great. Our products are great. I mean, we have so many tools now. I mean, even doing this right now, this Zoom thing, this is freaking awesome to be able to talk to all. I mean, how many people are on this call? Do you know?
2,200.
Holy shit, that's great.
Record is
So there you go. I mean, you have this tool that if you start teaching the right things, there's 2,200 people that potentially get impacted in a positive way and get moving. And that's incredible that you can do that, and take advantage of it, and be a force for good. Be a force for for personal growth. Be that person that that really moves people through. I mean, I really try to move people through my personal example. I tried always to be the perfect example. I wanted to do all the things I'm asking people to do. I did them. I didn't just ask them. I did them myself, and I showed people what to do and how to do it. I didn't just talk at people. Most people just talk at people, but they're not actually showing people clearly what they've done to become successful. I think that's something that you should really pay a lot of attention to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeannie, you want to jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. Hector, it's a blast having you on. Thank you for
Thanks.
jumping on today.
You're welcome.
So when I was new in the business, I had subscribed to Platinum Training, and I would get my little purple cassette, every month, and I would listen. And one of the stories that you told that really impacted me, and maybe you could share a little more, expand on this, is you said when you were a young person, you used to read a lot of biographies of successful people. And it seems like a biography always takes the same trajectory. It's like, you work your butt off and then you have a little bit of success, but then there's also dips and failures, and how that impacted your mindset going forward when, you weren't getting the outcome that you wanted. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. That's one of the things that I learned. I've read like hundreds of biographies, mostly in the beginning when I was young, it was all sports, but later on it was business, business biographies, people successful in business. But I one thing I learned from all these successful people is they all struggled. They had all periods where they struggled a lot or had failures or actually went bankrupt and came back. And that all people that become super successful, it's not that they don't have problems. It's just that they don't allow the problems to limit them or stop them from becoming who they want to become, that they just keep on getting up one more time and giving it a go one more time. And I think that's important primarily because in Primerica, you have chargebacks, people quit on you, you got, all kinds of stuff happens. You invite 10 people to the meeting and no one shows up, and, all those things happen to me. I mean, and the thing is that you can't let that stop you from doing what you want to do. You got to keep going. You got to get up and get going again and again and again, whatever it takes. And if you're struggling, then the question I always ask, if you're struggling, then you have a deficiency in your skill sets and your maybe your knowledge base that you need to shore up. You need to get better. You need to get smarter. You need to get more informed. You need to get you improve your skill. your sales skills, your all those different skills that happen to lead to success in Primerica, you've got to you got to strengthen those skills. You got to pay the price. You know, stop watching TV, stop doing all the goofy stuff that people do, and pay attention to growing you. You're the most important person in your business. I mean, you got to grow yourself so that you can grow other people, because you can't grow people that unless you've grown yourself, unless you live that. So that's one thing I would really highly recommend. And then don't worry about everybody who's successful that you see that you like, maybe go, oh, that'd be so great to be that person. Well, you don't know their journey. You don't know what the hell they had to go through and all the crap they went through, whatever. Everybody that's makes it big has those challenges. And but the people that make it big, they never let that stop them from moving towards their goal and what they're trying to do. And you gotta make that decision in Primerica. Like when I got in, people ask, did you ever think about quitting? No, I never thought 1 second about quitting. That never entered my mind. I never thought about giving up. And I just tell people that, you know, for me, the only way you could stop me is you got to hit me in the head by a 2x4. There's no other way. There's no other way you're going to get me to stop and keep going forward. Even if I struggle for a while, I'm going to figure out what to do. And you need to have that same kind of, you know, feeling about what you're willing to do. And if you become unstoppable, then you have the ability to teach people how to become unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
So just decide you're going to be unstoppable. And I don't care if you've struggled or you're in a slump right now or you're having problems. Everybody has problems. Nobody gives a shit about your problems, by the way. So what? Just keep going. You know, get tough.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And then the other question in the chat, the most common question in the chat is, what are your top 3 self-development books? If you have a top 3.
Well, top 3 right now are that I think from a sales standpoint, I'm a Tom Hopkins fan. He's a very good friend of mine, and a lot of the success I've experienced is from Tom's work that he did. You know, we became very good friends. I think Grant Cardone's really good too. I've become friends with Grant, and you know, I just recently spoke at one of his meetings. I think what else is there? Well, for me, my 2 top books that I think are at the top of my list are Think and Grow Rich. I probably read that 15, 20 times.
Yeah.
And the other one is Awakening the Devil. You know what I'm talking about?
Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil. Yeah, that book is it's a phenomenal book. Mm-hmm. And the devil, by the way, is you. Mm-hmm. You're the devil. It's outwitting yourself. You know. So the book is a fantastic book, and it was written in the 30s or 20s or something like that. And it's a really great book. I would highly recommend people read that book.
Yeah, I think it was actually not permitted to be published when it was written, and then it was published much later by his family. Yeah,
they were afraid to publish it because of the title.
Right.
Yeah, they thought it was you know, sacrilegious or something. So that's what happened. But eventually it got done. And thank God it's a super book.
So we got another question. Mm-hmm. You talk about, I only work with motivated people. Someone's asking, well, how do I recruit motivated people? And maybe that's part of the, you know, law of attraction that you're talking about, is you kind of attract to the business what you become.
Absolutely.
And then
100%.
How do you determine, like, is it just pure production? Someone's producing? Is it coachability? Is it they're showing up to meetings? When should a person disengage and when do they engage? And how do you find those people?
Yeah. Well, they're everywhere. I mean, they're all over the place. They just need somebody to show them that there's a way to get where they want to go. You know, the one thing is that if I show you what I'm doing and what the potential is, and you're not excited about that, you're not the right one. I mean, that's the bottom line. So, and I always watch people's behavior. You know, people's behavior tell you whether you should invest energy with them or not. And so their behavior, like, do they show up to all the meetings? Are they reading the books you're recommending? Are they listening to the audios you're recommending? Are they bringing people to all the meetings? Are they, you know, are they doing the things that would lead to success that you're recommending or teaching them to do. That if they're coachable and they do start doing the things you're asking them to do, then those people you should pay a lot of attention to. You should really get close to those people. Even if you don't like them, you should get close to them. You know, I had a lot of people that like, I probably wouldn't become good buddies with them, but they're motivated, so that I invested as much energy I could with those people and try to coach them and teach them what I was doing to have success. So I think you just pay attention to people's behavior. They'll tell you, you know, it's like, you know, if you're trying to date somebody and they won't take your calls and they won't even go on a lunch date or something, well, then, you know, you need to step away and go find somebody that will. There's plenty of people out there that if they were presented correctly with what we do and how great it is and what the potential was, and you can explain it in a way that's clear, that you can get them engaged, you can get them involved. So, you know, just pay attention to people's behavior. They'll tell you whether they're motivated or not by what they do, not what they say, but what they do. And when I would see people's acting correctly, shoot, man, I was like white on rice, man. I was totally all over them, trying to build a relationship and, you know, get to know them well and share my expertise with them to show them how to become successful at our business. So you know, and the other thing is keep getting better so that you attract better people. You know, you attract what you are, not what you want to be. You know, so you got to grow yourself so I worked so hard on myself, and I always felt like you're an idiot if you don't get in my business and work with me. That's how I thought. You're crazy not to work with me. I'm probably the best thing that ever happened to you in your life. You know, and I actually felt that. I was, you know, I didn't tell them that, you know, but I felt that way. And that was my demeanor, right? That, you know, I'm really good at this and I can help you become good and I can help you change your life if you'll just allow me to. It's up to you. You know, so that you got to get that place where you're so damn confident that, you know, you expect everybody to get involved. Like if I didn't close a sale, I would go, "What? You kidding me? How could you? You can't say no to me." You know, that's kind of how you have to start to feel a little bit. Maybe it's a little arrogant, but if you do the work to be that good, then it's not. You know.
I'll jump in, Brad. Hey, so you used to talk about, you know, what I do is I tell them what I'm going to do. I do it, then I tell them what I did, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so talk about not only your perfection, but just for people that have people on their teams, the role playing, the aspect of role playing.
Yeah, it's really important.
Of it.
Yeah, that's really important. You know, the role playing, like, you know, on my training, my Saturday trainings that I would do, you know, when I was building my business, I role played everything, and in my stage, I had a stage, and then I had a kitchen table and 4 chairs, so I could have me and my trainee and a couple, right? And so what I would always do every week is I would train on every part of the business, but I would actually role play in front of my group. So I might have 100, 150 people in my op meeting room training, and I would show them exactly what I was doing at a kitchen table. I wanted everybody to see exactly what I did, exactly how I did it. And I explained how I did it after I did it. You know, I went over it again because I wanted people to get really clear about all the things I was doing to get people to say yes, right? To close them, to overcome their objections and get them excited about getting involved and excited about getting me referrals. And I showed people, I didn't talk at people. And then I explained what I did. So I think one of the things to do is you need to show people, and then you need to explain why you did it. Because people, a lot of times, when you're really good at the kitchen table and you're training somebody, they think what you're doing is magic because they don't understand what's happening. They just like, how did you do that? You know, that's what they would say. And then I would explain how I did that. This is why. This is when they said this. I said this. Do you remember that? This is what I said. This is why I said it. This is how you said it. This is. I was very, very clear about teaching people exactly what I was doing because I wanted my closing ratio is 80, 90%. I would close everybody. I'd recruit just about everybody I really wanted to recruit. I would recruit. So I wanted people to do exactly what I was doing. And I didn't let them do their own thing. I said, you got to do it this way. Once you start closing tons of business and you can do it on your own, it's fine. But right now we're going to do it the way I do it, because the way I do it works. Okay. So I was very clear about that, teaching people what to do and not go out on their own and figure it out on their own, because they don't know what they're doing. People, when they come in the business, especially most people have never been in sales before, they have no idea. And a lot of times people, they feel uncomfortable asking straightforward questions of people. And so you got to learn, show them how to do that. If people say, I want to think about it, I'd say, exactly. All right. What exactly do you want to think about? You want to think about the fact that we're going to double your coverage for half the price, or that you're going to get debt free in 10 years instead of 30 years, or that you're going to make more money than you ever made before. Which part of that do you need to think about? I would just talk to people like that. Like, what do you mean think about it? You don't need to think about it. You need to just take action, because you don't know what you're talking about. Basically, let me help you. So I was very direct with people. Not rude, okay, because you can be direct and be rude, but I was never rude, but I was really direct with people, and I think that's important, to not beat around the bush.
You were honest. And isn't that a form of empathy, really, when you're just like that?
Right.
Yeah, I was honest. I wasn't trying to take advantage of them. I was trying to help them. I was trying to help them, get rid of their cash value insurance and buy a term policy and invest the difference and have more money in retirement. What I was doing was good, but sometimes you got to be really direct with people. Sometimes, like with your kids, I don't know about you. Have you ever had those straightforward talks with the kids when they're not being what they could be? Yeah, absolutely.
Hector, I remember one of your closing sequences was, so let me ask you, what are some of the features and benefits you would need to hear that would make you feel comfortable in going ahead with this program? And I used to use that all the time, because then when they answer that, that's your answer. So let me just show you that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really good.
You're a good student.
I used to, let me tell you, that was very devoted to that. I had a cassette player in my car. Now cars don't even have a CD player.
Yeah, right, exactly.
One of the questions that's coming up in the chat also is, can you talk a little bit about, to my knowledge, you developed the 7 fundamentals. Like, that was your philosophy. Like, these are 7 fundamentals you need to work on. Can you talk about the importance of mastering that? Like,
yeah, I did. I mean, I don't know if I never saw anybody do that before. I was trying to figure out what are the key things to get people trained on so that they can experience success. Well, one is they have to become a pro at prospecting. You got to become a professional prospector if you're ever going to build any sales business that you're in. It requires that, right? Because you can't go without a prospect. You have nowhere to go, right? Then you got to get a pro at setting appointments, meeting with people. You got to be able to have people sit down with you so that you can show them what we do. And then you have to have a presentation that leads to closing them on our products, services, or opportunity. You have to be able to do that. Then you have to learn to overcome all the most common objections that come up. Like, I want to think about it. I'm not a salesperson. You have to learn how to do that as well. And then what are the other ones? I can't think of them right now. Referrals. Oh yeah, I was really good at getting referrals. I always ask for referrals. My goal was always to get like 10 or 20 referrals from people. So I didn't cold call. Like, I didn't have to cold call, because I would recruit people. I'd get their 20, 30 name list, and then I'd go close a bunch of transactions and get more referrals from those people. So I never really had a cold call. A lot of people do that, but if you know how to get referrals and you know how to close people on your products and services, then you can get people's warm market list when you recruit somebody. If somebody I was trying to recruit wouldn't give me, at least 15 or 20 names, it's like, well, what's the point? You need to do that. And sometimes people don't want to give you that stuff. But I said, look, if you're going to do this, you have to learn how to do this correctly, and you have to learn how to get referrals from people, because you can't go forward. Otherwise, you have to go knock on doors. And I'm not going to go knock on a door. I'm going to recruit people and get their list And then or after I close a transaction, and even if I didn't recruit them, I would say, okay, who are the 5 to 10 people you care most about that you want them to be financially debt free and in terrific shape, financially. Okay, who do you know? And I would ask those referrals. I'd always ask for referrals because referrals are the lifeblood of our business. If you're constantly getting referrals, then you always have somebody to go see, or at least somebody to call to go see. So you need to get comfortable with asking for those referrals, and then acting on them.
Yeah. So Hector, somebody's asking about being stuck, and we all get stuck. I mean, at the end of the day, we all get stuck. This is why you have to study success. And I would encourage anybody, you can go on to SoundCloud, YouTube. There's so much Hector content online. You can study Hector like Jeannie and Scott and I did. I studied Hector so much. In my mind, when I'd get stuck, all I would say to myself is WWHD. What would Hector do? And I knew what Hector would do. Yeah, I knew what Hector would do. And I would say that to everybody. Well, WWHD. That's all you have to. I knew what you would do. I studied success so much. And all I had to do was replicate what I studied. And you're talking about Tom Hopkins and, now Grant Cardone's out there. If you study these people when you're in situations where I have to close a sale, it's there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know how to do. Well, the thing is that people don't really totally get most of the time. It's just asking people questions. The right questions is how you close them. Not by telling them. Telling people is pushy. Asking is pulley. That's all we say, right? You want to pull people towards you, so you ask questions. If you want to push people away, you tell them. So you got to get good at asking people, the right questions when they say, like I did, if I want to think about it, or I'm not a salesperson or whatever, you ask questions. So, are you married? Yeah. How did you close your spouse on marrying you? You're a salesperson. When you're a kid, right? Your kid, I don't know about you, but my kids were professional salespeople. They're asking for what they want all the time, right? And so that it's just asking. It's not telling. It's asking. You pull the information from them, out of them, and by asking the right questions. Like recruiting, I would say people. I said, look, right now you're making 50, 100 grand a year. What if I could show you how you could earn 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times that amount? Can you think of any reason why you wouldn't at least take a close look and venture to see what it's about? I mean, just see, that's just a question. I'm not telling them. I'm asking. What I always wanted to do is when people would give me an objection, I wanted to be able to ask questions in such a way that I made them feel silly for saying what they said, and that's through asking questions. Questions are the answer, aren't they?
Scott, any last questions?
Aren't they? I'm kind of rolling through here. So here's a couple of different angles on this. So now not that you ever left, but you've just discovered that there's 2,200 people on Zoom, and right, it's pretty cool. So in today's Primerica, I'm sure a lot of the same things are true, but is there any 1 or 2 things that you're seeing that said, hey, this is really a distinct advantage over the way it was in the past, or here's what I'd be looking at, something different today for today's Primerica?
Well, not really. I think the thing that you still need to do is you need to get face to face with people, or at least like this. We're talking. You're seeing me, and if I'm animated, you can feel it. You can feel what I'm saying. I think the thing is you still have to prospect. No, I don't care what you think. There's no easy way to find people. You need a prospect. You need to make a decision that you're going to become a master prospector. And for me, if I was to get started over again, that's all I'd be doing is prospecting. And I'd be prospecting, and I'd be asking questions to find out if these people are qualified and live or not. And I wouldn't have any problem being direct with people if I met them. I used to say stuff like, I said, if there was a way that you could double or triple your income, can you think of any reason why you wouldn't explore that? So that's a simple question. No, unless they're stupid, all right, they're going to say no. And then you say, okay, well, let me show you what I'm doing and what our company does and what we have to offer people and the difference we make in people's lives. I think you're going to be really impressed. So that's that easy, really. It's just ask a question and then, get people to sit down and listen to you. You guys are all professional salespeople. You just got to get in front of more people. That's all. I mean, you gotta get in front of a lot of people.
Thanks, Hector, so much. We don't want to keep you any longer. We asked for an hour of your time, and we just want to tell you how much we appreciate you and what you've done for all of us.
Very welcome.
We could have talked a whole hour about that and had other people come on and do a Hector tribute, but I don't know if that would help everybody else. So
no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
But thanks so much, buddy. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, bud.
Keep doing this. This is great what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people with this. Hopefully, some of the people that are listening today are going to inspire to go get great at what they do so they can get financially independent.
It won't be the last time that we probably invite you on here, Hector.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. I'm
nice,
open.
Eldon. Nice.
Right before he leaves. Going on, Eldon.
Right before he leaves. Boom.
There you go. See, he's a professional salesperson.
Can you think of any reason you wouldn't come on again and help us, Hector?
That was awesome.
I can't think of any reason.
Open invitation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Hector.
That's my life. Okay, guys. Yeah. Great talking to you.
Thanks,
great seeing you.
All right.
Let me know how it's going. Okay.
We'll do.
Done deal.
All right.
Oh man, how you can't get anybody that's more relatable and like duplicatable. There's no reason you can't do, and like you can't just soak in everything that he just said and put it into your business. That's the amazing part.
Great show today, man. Unbelievable. We knew it was going to be awesome. So, he's just such a pro. And listen, there's a ton of questions, a ton of questions people wanted to ask Hector, but I think they could, if you really think and I took a ton of notes while that was on. Yep. If you really go through that, Hector answered every question that you had, directly or indirectly. It's a matter of getting good in the business. People want to know, well, how do I get good? He told you, read How to Master the Art of Selling Anything. Grant Cardone's got some great sales books out. Get good at the business, and the business becomes easy for you. It's not easy, but it'll become a lot easier for you. So great job, Jeannie, Scott. Eldon, close it out, bud.
Oh, man. Awesome. Unbelievable job from everybody in the back that was answering questions. And I just appreciate everybody that contributes to this. Thank you, Home Office, for opening this up and allowing us to run the show. We're so appreciative. And you know what? We had 2,200 people on today, but we should have double that. And that's the power of influence. Get your people trained properly. So we look forward to seeing this again next week. And we've got another great lineup this next week. Bring your people here because there is value here every single week. So appreciate everything from that's done behind the scenes, and just go have an incredible Labor Day weekend and spend time with your families, but get focused on where you want to go. So have a great week.
Close the month strong. Let's go.
Close hard.